one of my favorite teachings, and it's the core or foundation of my personal practice and philosophy, is that if you can breathe, you can do yoga. As long as we're breathing, as long as we're alive, there's some yoga practice or yoga philosophy that we can connect to that brings us home to our spiritual essence. I was first inspired to teach yoga because I was working as a personal trainer and noticing that I needed a language to speak to my students about the effect of the spirit on the body. And I needed a language, I needed a metaphor. I found that there were not only a language for all that, but terms and definitions and concepts that have been worked on and refined for thousands of years. I was like, okay, here it is. This is going to be my interface, my metaphor to talk to my students. I decided that I needed to go to India myself and learn there, absorb those things that you can't absorb through translations. You have to step or sink your feet in the soil of the land that gave birth to the practice. When it came down to it, I realized that I was exposed to a technology that I could use to give back to my friends and family. And thinking about my mom specifically, I decided, okay, this is the woman that raised me, and I'm going to teach her yoga as a way to heal her body. And for 10 years we practiced. My yoga style differs from my peers in the sense that prior to becoming a yoga teacher, I was working as a personal trainer. In 2004, 2 years prior to becoming a yoga teacher, I became what's known as a CSCS, a Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. So I had to learn a lot about anatomy, physiology, movement, biomechanics, motor learning, these things that your average yoga teacher just doesn't have exposure to. And I had a lot of hours of working with people one-on-one in the personal training realm, teaching them how to move, how to get stronger, developing programs, training protocols for them to get them healthy. When I was introduced to the world of yoga, that was already my context, and I had that as a framework to then add to. My yoga is a healing practice. It's not an aesthetic practice. It is a feel-good practice. It's a simplified practice. I call my yoga style Dharuna yoga. Dharuna in Sanskrit means foundation. Working with people that didn't have the proprioceptive awareness to be able to adjust themselves quickly, I knew right away that I had to slow down my practice, that I had to create preparatory movements to open up the body before leading students into a place of stillness. I offered to my students my years of experience. I've been teaching yoga for 12 years. And during that time, I've worked with a lot of various ailments. People recovering from surgery, people recovering from strokes, people with different autoimmune diseases. I encourage a deeper level of engagement, not by necessarily having them do more challenging postures, but having them do what they can do with more awareness, more self-awareness. Yoga is being this practice that we do because it makes us feel good, and we're devoted to learning how to improve that and improve upon that, and that's devotion. So when I see that devotion in my students, and I know it's the same devotion I feel in my heart, in that I'm merely a conductor of the choir that is my students.